Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club with a supplemental video on how to load and fly a two-stage rocket. So previously we built the Estes Loadstar II here. Now I have actually not finished it yet. The nose cone is elsewhere, but the nose cone is immaterial for this particular segment, so we're not going to worry about it. Now, if you want to, you can fly virtually every two-stage rocket as a one-stage rocket. All you need to do is just not do anything with this part, and you would put in a motor, as usual, like so, load it up, go from there. What I would suggest if you want to launch this as a one-stage is that, well, two things. One is this fits in, and it's not firmly anchored at all. Most of the time when you fly a rocket, you'll have some kind of engine retention system, either a screw-on mount like we did for, say, the Estes Shattered, or an engine hook like we've done with quite a few other rockets. But something will be holding it in place. In this case, nothing is holding it in place other than friction, and that's not going to do. So when the ejection charge pops, the path of least resistance is going to be the engine goes flying out the back, which means that first of all, you're going to be dropping not super heavy, but you're going to be dropping something from altitude. You don't generally want to do that because it's not safe. The larger problem, though, is that if all the energy from the ejection charge goes into doing that, then nothing is going into pushing the chute out, which is a much more significant problem. So one option that you can do is you could, if just for first stage, right? If this is a one stage only, you can grab some masking tape and put a couple bits of tape, or you could just put a ring right around here. Generally, I tend to put little short pieces, maybe like two of them, connecting the engine mount part to the rocket. You'd be surprised, but the little bit of tape actually does hold it for the most part, which is good. That's lovely, but we build a two-stager. We want to fly it as two stages, so you need two motors. First things first, make sure you have the correct motors. I cannot emphasize this enough. The first stage needs to be like this. It needs to be something with a 0 at the end of it. The letter, again, tells us essentially like how powerful it is. The first number tells us what is essentially the maximum thrust it's going to put out. The last number, remember, is the delay between burning out the thrust part of the motor and the ejection charge. The first stage of every two-stage rocket needs to be a 0. So as soon as this thing burns out, it's going to instantly fire off the ejection charge. Once that happens, the hot gases are going to come out the top, right? And they are going to go directly into the second stage, like so. Those ejection charges are what's going to spark the second stage into flight. So these two, for at least a bunch of Estes kits, are going to be in physical contact with each other. To make our lives easier, we're going to get a piece of clear tape like so. This is just Scotch tape. And we're going to tape the two bits together. This tape has a lot of crud on it because apparently it's been sitting in my field box getting dirty, but truthfully, it doesn't really matter because it's just there to help us load things up. The tape is helpful here, but as soon as the ejection charge goes off, the hot gases are going to melt this stuff like it's not even there. So that's fine. The other thing that you need to do, because we aren't going to be able to get a good solid connection in the top stage, is we're going to use some masking tape, not clear tape. We're going to use some masking tape, and we are going to make the fit better in the top stage. Now, in theory, you could do this in the bottom stage too. It doesn't really make all that much of a difference, honestly, because the bottom stage, you don't need to worry about that as much. So I'm just going to wrap this tape around like so. And the idea is that we've made it wider and I should have more friction holding it. Like so. the still, I mean, it's not stuck, but it's better, right? So that's how we're going to hold the second stage in place when the second ejection charge goes off. Now, the other thing you need to be very, very careful about here is that you got the 0 on the bottom and the not 0 on the top. By the way, typically you're going to use a purple colored Estes motor for the top stage. This is a C6-7. You want the extended delay before the ejection charge because if you use a lower number, I mean, you could use a C6-5, I guess, on this, but I wouldn't want to. I'd want the 7 because the idea is that we want to time this so the ejection charge goes off while it's at apogee. Partially because we want, better flight duration, but also because we don't want to kick out the parachute while the rocket is still accelerating. We'd like to have it pop out when things are just kind of hanging at the top of the trajectory. All right. Anyway, so it goes in like so. Yeah. And I think I need to actually go and look at the, it looks like the second stage is getting caught on the clear tape here, which is kind of annoying. So I might have to go retape this or just put a little extra pressure on it. Otherwise, it's not going to quite fit just right. And we, of course, do care about that. Yeah, so right now I've got a little bit of a gap. You can see down at the bottom, the motor is all the way flush, but it looks like, it's just getting stuck on that clear tape. So if I were actually going to go fly this, I would probably get a new, better piece of tape, because remember, this one was kind of crudted up and it didn't lay very smoothly. So, oh well, that's fine. You could also even do you could like maybe even cut this in half. It's just there really to hold things together for you. So good enough. Yeah, that did not lay smoothly at all. So that's really the problem. All right. So once it's all packed up, you should be ready to launch. Again, 0 on the bottom, big number on the top. Make sure you get that right. I've seen people get the order flipped, in which case they get a long burn, so it goes up and comes down nose first and hits the ground. And then a couple seconds later, the ejection charge goes off and lights the second stage, which is just not good. So be safe, be careful, think about what you're doing when you launch a two-stage rocket. One last thing to note, two-stage rockets are especially vulnerable to windy weather. So if you have winds over like 5 miles an hour, maybe it's not a good day for that. It's really best when it is still. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.